Hello and welcome to the Kanawha Valley Hustlers. This is Joe Justice. I'm here with Cindy. Cindy, tell me, what's your hustle?
Well, I'm a semi-retired physical therapist, but now I'm doing a lot of other things I've always wanted to do my whole life, and I'm taking a deep dive into nutrition.
Oh, okay. Well, now you told me that you started your business quite a while ago, and now you've sold it recently. Talk to me just a little bit about the entrepreneurial journey that was.
So I started my business in 1990 in a 500 square foot room, basically, and I built my own treatment tables. I'm a physical therapist, and where I got the material to build those tables, I had a friend that worked at the Kanawha Airport, and he would get unalive dead bodies that would come in body boxes, and they were the perfect size for treatment tables. So
Cindy learned a little bit of a new internet slang today, so she's eager to use it.
That's right. So anyway, we upholstered those, and that was my first treatment tables. And then I grew from 500 square feet into a 28,000 square foot building in Taze Valley with 2 locations. I bought an old Lowe's building down there.
Wow.
It was their first prototype building.
Now that's an important thing to kind of touch on here. A lot of people think that business owners just start out with the multiple locations and all that, but it takes a while to work up into that, doesn't it?
Took a long time. My mother was my part-time secretary, receptionist, and I basically took Friday afternoons off and cleaned the place, and it was great, just she and I.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because I talk a lot. The name of the podcast is the Kanawha Valley Hustlers, and I like to talk a lot about hustling and doing things and getting things done. And a lot of people kind of misunderstand that, in that they think it's always work, work, work. But what I'm really talking about when it comes to hustling is not being afraid to take out the trash at your office, not being afraid to clean the toilets, to hustle is to get the things done that have to get done. How do you feel about that?
That was me. I cleaned the fingerprints off the walls. I cleaned the parking lot. I picked up the cigarette butts. I did the repairs on upholstery. I did everything.
Somebody had to do it, right?
Somebody had to do it, and I was the best person to do it, actually.
That's great. So tell me a little bit more about how the business grew. You said that you started out with a prototype Lowe's building. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was a 28,000 square foot building. I renovated 10,000 square feet into our clinic, and then I developed 18,000 square feet into a functional fitness gym that's still going today.
Wow. Okay, so flash forward a few decades, and now you've recently sold that business, and you're doing something new.
I sold the business in 2018, and since then I've pursued some passions. I became a master gardener, and then I've worked in the school system. My son is a teacher at Rock Branch Elementary, so I became a substitute teacher, and I'll teach gym there some. I've also worked at Grits Farms. I led school tours there as a tour guide. So I've enjoyed that, but my husband and I, we travel some, and I'm all about adventure.
All about adventure. That's great. And now you've told me that you're getting into nutrition. Tell me a little bit about that.
The past few years, I've been taking a deep dive into functional nutrition. I've read a lot of books, listening to a lot of podcasts, doing some speaking about that to different groups, and doing some exercise classes with some elderly folks. That's great.
That's great. So it sounds like you've really run the gamut of kind of business owner, entrepreneur. It sounds to me like you're still working, but maybe not as much about paying the bills anymore.
I'm not getting paid very much anymore. I'm kind of relying on my past work for my payment now, but I worked hard when I was working, and I was determined, a risk taker, and got it done.
And I think that's how it works. You work hard, and then you can see the results of that hard work, right?
Hopefully it'll hold up.
Great. Well, as we're kind of wrapping up here, tell me just a little bit about if you were to talk to yourself 20 years ago, or somebody else that's starting a business today, what kind of advice would you get them for getting started and keeping going?
You have to work hard. You have to be there early. You usually go home later. You've got to innovate. You've got to steal ideas wherever you can from people. You've got to learn and continually be learning. I think that's the big thing. Learning how to actually promote your craft, but also how to stay innovative and and keep your business current.
Great. Cindy, thank you so much for joining me here today.
It's been fun.
Thank you so much for watching and listening. This is Joe Justice, the Kanawha Valley Hustler, reminding you to hustle hard, hustle smart, and hustle with a smile.